debuted 5 years ago, Poppy Playtime has gotten 5 new chapters, and with each one, the lore gets more complex and the fan theories get even weirder. Joining me here to talk about what's going on in this universe, Bryce from Mob and Nicole, who voices Lily Love Braids. Thank you for joining us. Give it up for Poppy Playtime. Okay, so yeah, people pay very close attention to these games. There's some very, very deep mythology. People pick everything apart, and clearly you plant a lot of little breadcrumbs, you put a little threads on there to pull on, you plan some stuff ahead. I want to know just how do you engage with that? Do you read fan theories? Do you steer clear of it entirely? Do you try to stay 2 steps ahead of it? And Nicole, how do you get caught up to speed on that kind of thing?
Well, there's a lot to that. Well, you don't want to over-index on what people are saying on the internet, right? So we want to engage the community, we want to pay attention to what people care about, but also we need to be driving towards an element of surprise. So we don't want to pay too much attention and then let that kind of creep into the creative process, but we also want to make sure that we're honoring a lot of what people are passionate about, what they really are excited about with the series.
Yeah, and I would say I rely heavily on the devs when I get in the room. When it's my turn, I'm like, so you tell me what is and isn't relevant, because not all the secrets are out when it's in the process. And then once it's out, my goodness, the number of fan things that other people point out to me that I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize, that's so cool. And I go and discover things that I hadn't even seen because it wasn't part of my process.
Now, Bryce, do you have any particular favorite fan theories that are just wildly off base? They can be ones that have since sort of expired, that new information.
Any favorite ones? No, I mean, there are, as you said, a lot, and the community is wildly engaged, and it's fun to look through them, but I think for me, it's not any specific theory, it's just that back and forth in the community, seeing people in the theory crafting channels talking about what they might think and inspecting the smallest details, and to me, that's really fun all on its own. I don't really have a favorite fan theory, but just watching that interaction, that ecosystem of people is really fun.
It's got to come with a certain amount of power to just be oh, they're paying attention.
I love how much the fans will take the characters once they're out and create all of this additional thought on why they're doing what they're doing and how they ended up. They really go deep into the motivations in ways that even as an actor, I'm like, oh, that's good, actually.
Let's talk about your characters. Because Lily was a huge part of Chapter 5. There's also Miss Gracie. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of how early Lily came together? How long ago were you sort of planning this character, and how you found her voice, both in terms of who she is and finding Nicole?
Well, as with most characters in games, they go through a lot of iterations. We do a lot of explorations, this incredible amount of concept art, exploring what should they look like, what should the outfits be like, how should the hair look, how should they move, And so it was a long process during the first stretch of the project and pre-production, trying to figure out what is the right look and feel for the character. So it evolved all the way up until the end, small tweaks, what looks right, all the way down to the shine on the hair and on the clothes, figuring out what exactly is the right balance. And the motion as well, the way she moves, the way she performs, that was something that was developing all throughout the process.
Now, Nicole, people have called out your performance as being a lot, it's
It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
A little bit. How did you find that? How'd you find that voice? How did you kind of zero in on?
It was a really collaborative process, honestly. There was initial ideas that came in, and then we kind of developed and evolved. I got some character art, but it wasn't even the final yet. So we just kind of started throwing things out there, and the team kind of adjusted based on what they felt would fit in the pocket. And then once we were locked in, this is something I have loved about Mob in general, they were just go wild. They just were really yeah, go. Give it, you have another take? Go, let's see. And they were really open to ad-libs and adding things as long as it was really in the core of the character. And so much of that made it in, which was so satisfying to me. And I was so wildly impressed with her animations and the way that those vocal performances became something else entirely.
And the balance between Miss Gracie and Lily Love Braids, right? The combination of seeing the transition, seeing the sort of videos of the before and then the after, and seeing that kind of intense energy, that really bubbly, intense energy was fantastic.
There's a little cameo here. That was a bit weird to glance over to.
Huggy, we got a Dr. Sawyer in there.
Oh my. Love it. Let's talk about the prototype. You've been teasing the prototype a very long time. Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, how has it changed? How has it kind of evolved over time? And also, Nicole, what was your first impression of it? What was it like to get kind of briefed on this situation?
Well, there's a lot of anticipation for this character. The seeds of this character have been planted in the very earliest days of the development of the game. Not just 5, but way back in the early chapters, right? And so early on, every time we tried to show any little piece, like here's the arm that's going to get catnapped, all these different moments, it was interesting balance between trying to live up to fan expectations, subvert fan expectations, and also, where possible, exceed them, right? And that is no small feat.
For me, I got to experience it with the rest of the fans playing it for the first time. I had no idea other than when I was doing Miss Gracie on set, getting to see some of the claw pieces and whatever else that they had just kind of around. I had no idea what the final product was going to look like. And so it was very cool because obviously Lily has a very specific relationship to the prototype. And I loved so many of the choices. I loved all of the different voices as a choice, obviously. Coming from Performance Land, I'm like, that's such a cool assimilation choice for him. So I think you guys did a great job.
Bryce, do you have a favorite character to work on in Chapter 5? I know they're all darlings. You can't really play favorites.
Favorite character in Chapter 5? Oh, man. Well, it's hard to beat Lily Love Braids. I mean, the combination, like I said, of seeing Miss Gracie and then going into the world of Lily Love Braids was really, really amazing to see, and the performances were incredible. I also really love Giblet. It was actually really hard for me to choose between the two because the balance between them, the way they interact and some of that is really fun.
Nice. Can you identify who the fan favorite character is in the community? And is there a character that you wish got more love from the community?
Oh, man. When I look out into the community, what I see is a lot of love for a lot of the characters. And obviously, we've got Dr. Sawyer out here in the audience, along with Huggy, 2 incredible classic characters now at this point. I don't know that I've seen a fan favorite, but I've seen an incredible amount of Lily Love Braids stuff out on the internet. The cosplay has been amazing.
The cosplay is unreal. It's next level.
Curveball question. What was the creepiest toy you had as a kid?
Creepiest toy I had as a kid. Oh, man.
I had one of the Furbies, and those are hard to beat.
Yeah.
That's true.
They were intense. The little tongue that you could press.
They're not right. There's something
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although on characters that need love, I just want to say, a personal, low-key favorite of mine in 5 was Tompkins.
Yeah.
When they were explaining to me, they were trying to explain it because she has some Lily or Gracie references, Tompkins, at some point. And they were explaining the character to me, and I was like, you go in his tummy to feel warm and nice? And I don't know, I loved that. I'm like, I want to get into Tompkins.
That's a really good point, because Chum is such a fun and interesting character, and it's like, oh, he's so cute and cuddly and kind of soft, and then he belly opens up and the teeth are there and you're like, oh my God. And that's where a lot of the magic comes from for us, is finding that balance between cute and cuddly and these vintage toy elements, that nostalgia, but then there's always that layer underneath, right? Like Huggy, when he's standing up on the podium, Chapter 1, he's just happy and smiling and he's fine, and then you see the mouth open, right? And you're like, it's a whole different ballgame.
You do some great work with upsetting teeth. It's a lot. Now, a couple more questions. Nicole, you've had a lot of roles. You're also a big deal in another beloved horror series, which is Resident Evil. You're Jill Valentine, and you're also Daniela Dimitris in Village. Which is most challenging to play? Somebody who is a clear-cut hero, a clear-cut villain, or somebody who's just sort of, you're like, what is going on here?
Challenging to play?
Yeah, I guess challenging / fun.
Fun to play, different. I would say villains are always having a good day until they're not, and heroes are almost always having a bad day. So that's one way to think about it. And I will say, as far as like going to the Lily Lad, it's like a vocally challenging character. Anytime you have someone that's very screamy or very unhinged or chaotic, like that does have a layer of effort when it comes to like, okay, how much can I sustain? What are we doing where? Like there's some more technical aspects to capturing that kind of a character versus someone who's a little more cinematic and speaking, or, you know, efforts are always hard. But Lily definitely had a lot of loud laughing and the number of amazing fans that are like, can you do the laugh? And I'm like, it's a lot, but sure, you know, so.
Can you do the laugh?
Yeah. Okay. Well, right before she goes, oh, our special guest is here.
So good.
Very nice. That was going to be my next question, by the way. Can you do the laugh? Okay, so you mentioned cinematic stuff. Just real quick, Bryce, can you give us any updates on the future of Poppy Playtime, whether that is Chapter 6 or the movie that was in the talks for a while? Can you give any insight to any of that?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things in the works. Most of it is a little too early to talk about. Obviously, we take it very seriously when we're trying to interact with the fans and making sure that we're dropping the details in the right way and planting seeds of. And the ARG is going to be happening at some point, and it's really fun to kind of introduce these little pieces over time and engage the audience. So we're really particular about not talking about it too early. So I'm afraid I can't speak to anything beyond saying I think fans are going to be really excited about what's next coming from Mob and for Poppy.
Nice. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Give it up, Poppy Playtime. For more Poppy Playtime, be sure to catch the panel happening later today in the theater if you're here at IGN Live. And of course, if you haven't yet, you can grab all 5 chapters of the game, available now on consoles and PC. More IGN Live coming up. Stick around.